Hello, everybody. Well, as you probably know, all the precious metals are losing their minds at the moment. And I had to kind of do a little pivot there when I said losing their minds. So, you know, I know that we want it to go higher. They were expected to go higher. And we don't know how high it's going to go. Is this the top right now? A lot of people, particularly in silver, think it's reached a level where it's prone to pulling back. But is it? Now, underneath all this, the thing that is driving it is gold. By the way, you hear all those banging and popping in the background. That's my fire, my log fire, and that's the logs going bang, bang, pop. Anyway, there you go. I don't live in Chicago. So, how far will the precious metals go? Now, gold is leading the whole thing. So today, we're going to talk about gold. And that will lead on later in other days to silver, platinum and palladium and copper. But gold is the one that's driving it. And that's what I'm going to be talking about up to the new year. My analysis on all these precious metals and how we should be looking at them rather than necessarily how we can predict the destination correctly. So firstly, we're going to start with gold. And I think this is the key chart here. Now, it's useful because you look at that and you go, oh, it's one of those, one of the hockey sticks, one of the boom, bubble, bust shapes that we see in the past in things like, well, things like Nvidia, things like Apple, things like Bitcoin, and things like the NASDAQ. So we've seen this shape before, and it goes boom, bubble, bust. Sometimes it can go boom, bubble, slightly bust, stabilize, go sideways, boom a little bit, bubble a little bit, and then off it goes again. And you can see that particularly in equities. Well, this is not an equity growing its business, although some people will suggest that it will be in a way growing its business. It is just being driven by demand and supply. And gold, the demand is from governments, and the supply is static. So that's driving the price. Silver, the demand is retail because it's a retail kind of gold and because it's a strategic metal and there's a shortage of production on it. Platinum and palladium, again, is driven by the price of gold because these are precious metals, but it's also being driven by the fact that the internal combustion engine, where it's been used for decades as a remediation for pollution, is not going to be cancelled anymore and it's going to remain in the picture until further noticed and might actually get more important. So platinum and palladium are needed, so that is what's driving those prices. But if you want to abstract this all back, which is the way to look at markets, it's because of gold. And gold is being driven by global stress and global stressors and the global stressor, although really there's more than just Trump. And that means that countries are buying gold in because it's a strategic metal in conflict, and the likelihood of conflict is going up. You can see it's a hockey stick, but the base of it is too great. I mean, you're looking at a chart which is hard to see where it's going to go, but it looks like it could take 5 years to do it. So we're going to zoom in a bit better. So now you can see that it's 2026 where the action is going to happen. Unless, it doesn't have to happen. It's not fate. The actual price can settle in an equilibrium and then go up and settle in an equilibrium and then go up. And then it will push the time base of this hockey stick out. But you can kind of fill in the blank now by looking at that chart. And it's just a question of whether it's going to 5, 8 or 10,000. Well, 10,000 is a real stretch. 8,000, well, it doesn't take too much imagination to see it. And 5,000 looks like something that could happen in the next week or two. So that is my thinking. So the underlying driver, global stress, that's not going to go away. The situation in Venezuela, that's still going on and looks like it's escalating. The situation in Russia and Ukraine, well, it still seems to be that there's no obvious end to that. The China-America conflict and the Taiwan situation coming to a head in 2027 is obviously a big driver. And China versus the US is the big driver. Now, what we need to do is carry on looking for little data points to see whether stress is coming down or whether stress is going up. Now, it's no good listening to the words. Words are meaningless. Actions are what you look for. So, for example, in the last few days, the Americans have banned DJI drones from America. They haven't banned the old ones. They haven't banned the old models, but any new models are not allowed to be flown in the US. So that's an initial step towards getting rid of Chinese-made drones. And obviously with hope that American companies will pick up the slack and be the drone manufacturers in the US to give America that facility for mass production of drones. Well, that's more obvious China versus America, or in this case really America versus China evidence. And that is the sort of evidence we're looking for to suggest that this global stress is going to go up, and with it gold. So if suddenly actions started occurring, which are obviously de-escalating, and actual actions, not words, not, oh, kumbaya, no, actual actions, then that would be very bearish for gold. But we're not seeing any, and we're not even seeing any sort of crescendo of this process. You know, there's no planned high summit. So that suggests that gold has got a fairly long way to run, and it's going to be running up to 2027, when the Taiwan situation is meant to come to a head. It's meant to come to the head because China has said, PLA, People's Liberation Army, be ready. And more than implying be ready for Taiwan to come back within the fold of the overall Chinese state. And that is really, underneath all of this, that's the big driver of the gold price. And where does gold go? Well, we can't tell now, but it looks like quite a bit further. And what I'll be doing over the coming months is micro-analyzing the moves, because what you see in the chart is what's going on in the halls of power plus 3 or 4 days. And as the chart moves, so the world is moving, and you have to divine what's going on underneath the hood from the chart itself. So that's what I'll be doing, amongst other things, mind you. I won't be just focusing on gold and silver. I'll be bringing you all the good stuff. So gold, lots and lots of headroom. It's going up next year. Next year is going to be very, very, very big for gold, and thereby for silver, platinum, and palladium, and copper. So have a great new year. 2026 is going to be epic. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe and like. And if you want more of the deeper dives that you can see for the members videos, you can just become a member, and that would be great. Anyway, see you soon. Bye now.